us all down to the nub. "I do." I turned. De Bessinger, Vonvalt's taskman, was approaching, cheerfully eating an onion. He winked at me as his horse trotted past. Behind him was our employer, Sir Konrad Vonvalt, and at the very back was our donkey, disrespectfully named the Duke of Bronzy, which pulled a cart loaded with all our accoutrements. We had come to Rill for the same reason we went anywhere, to ensure that the Emperor's justice was done, even out here on the fringes of the Sovan Empire. For all their faults, the Sovans were great believers in justice for all, and they dispatched imperial magistrates like Vonvalt to tour the distant villages and towns of the Empire as itinerant courts. "I'm looking for Sir Ottmar Frost," I heard Vonvalt call out from the rear of our caravan. Bessinger had already dismounted and was summoning a local boy to make arrangements for our horses. One of the peasants pointed wordlessly at the manor. Vonvalt grunted and dismounted. Patria Claver and I did the same. The mud was iron-hard beneath my feet. "Helena!" Vonvalt called to me. "The ledger!" I nodded and retrieved the ledger from the cart. It was a heavy tome, with the thick leather jacket clad in iron and with a lockable clasp. It would be used to record any legal issues which arose, and Vonvalt's considered judgments. Once it was full, it would be sent back to the law library in distant Sova, where clerks would review the judgments and make sure that the common law was being applied consistently. I brought the ledger to Vonvalt, who bade me keep hold of it with an irritated wave, and all four of us made for the manor. I could see now that it had a heraldic device hanging over the door, a plain blue shield overlaid by a boar's head mounted on a broken lance. The manor was otherwise unremarkable, and a far cry from the sprawling townhouses and country fortresses of the imperial aristocracy in Sova. Vonvalt hammered a gloved fist against the door. It opened quickly. A maid, perhaps a year or two younger than me, stood in the doorway. She looked frightened. "I am Justice Sir Konrad Vonvalt of the Imperial Magistratum," Vonvalt said, in what I knew to be an affected Sovan accent. His native Yargaland inflection marked him out as an upstart, notwithstanding his station, and embarrassed him. The maid curtsied clumsily. "Who is it?" Sir Ottmar Frost called from somewhere inside. It was dark beyond the threshold and smelled like wood smoke and livestock. I could see Vonvalt's hand absently reach for his lavender kerchief. "Justice Sir Konrad Vonvalt of the Imperial Magistratum," he announced again, impatiently. "Bloody faith!" Sir Ottmar muttered, and appeared in the doorway a few moments later. He thrust the maid aside without ceremony. "My lord, come in, come in. Come out of the damp and warm yourselves at the fire." We entered. Inside it was dingy. At one end of the room was a bed covered in furs and woolen blankets, as well as personal effects which suggested an absent wife. In the centre was an open log fire, surrounded by charred and muddy rugs that were also mouldering thanks to the rain that dripped down from the open smoke hole. At the other end was a long trestle table with seating for 10 and a door that led to a separate kitchen. The walls were draped with mildewed tapestries that were faded and smoked near black, and the floor was piled thick with rugs and skins. A pair of big wolf-like dogs warmed themselves next to the fire. "I was told that a justice was moving north through the Tolsberg marshes," Sir Ottmar said as he fussed. As a Tollish knight and lord, he had been elevated to the imperial aristocracy, taking the high mark, as it was known, for the payoffs they had all received in exchange for submitting to the legions, but he was a far cry from the powdered and pampered lords of Sova. He was an old man, clad in a grubby tunic bearing his device and a pair of homespun trousers. His face was grimy and careworn, and framed by white hair and a white beard. A large dent marred his forehead, probably earned as a younger man, when the Reichskrieg had swept through and the Sovan armies had vassalized Tolsberg 25 years before. Both Vonvalt and Bessinger, too, bore the